I found a great source of fresh mountain natural spring water. It was built in 1938. Apparently, it's a very popular hotspot. Sometimes we have to wait in line to use it. The water flows continuously. There are other springs around us as well, and I hope we can find them all. We've been drinking this fresh, clean water for a while now. There's just nothing like it. We collect the water in half-gallon mason jars, the glass jars, anything glass actually that we might have here in the house. I keep it in the refrigerator to keep it nice and cold. I've ordered a few more half-gallon jars so we don't have to make this trip as often. It's less than an hour away, maybe 45 minutes. We use it for drinking. We use it for making our coffee. I drink a lot of hot tea, medicinal hot teas, and also for cooking, for steaming vegetables, things like that. It's just such a treat. It is just so delicious. It's so clean and crisp, and it's just really, really good. Another bonus for living in the country, I suppose. After our pool went in this past summer, we have lived with a huge mess in our back property. All the big trucks that came in and out really took a toll on the lawn. We did have some hardscaping done earlier in the summer, but we needed some retaining walls and a path to the pool from the deck stairs. But there was so much more to do. So finally this past week, the landscapers were here to complete the job. It was a huge mess once again. Before, it was beautiful. And I'll show you that at the very end. It was a very, very big job. It's a lot of property back there, a lot of lawn, and then the forest behind, that's our property as well. So yeah, we don't have to worry about that, which is really nice about having a forest in the back. But they really messed up the lawn badly, and it was so beautiful when we moved in. So we're hoping that it will come back. Lou and I were very happy with how it turned out. We had more paths put in here and there, and lots of grass seed and straw. We also had some plantings done, just a little bit for now. We decided to wait till spring to plant more trees and such, more shrubs. There's just not a great selection right now in any of the local nurseries. We decided to go with old brick and pea gravel. I love the sound of pea gravel when you walk on it. And it reminds me so much of Mount Vernon or some other historical properties. I absolutely love that look, the feel, and I'm sure we'll be planting some beautiful boxwoods perhaps in the springtime. I love the smell of boxwood. We also decided to go with bark size rubber mulch. We've never had rubber mulch before. Do you guys ever use the rubber mulch? We weren't sure we were going to love it, like it. We just didn't know, but we've never used that before, but after they put it down, we fell in love with the look. It's really beautiful. It's clean and it's fresh looking, and hopefully it will last a very long time. These guys worked so hard, day after day. They were here. At least it wasn't too hot, like in the summer. It was much better for them now. And this is really a much better time to lay grass seed down. And I think about the day after they laid it down and they were gone, the next day we had a really nice soaking rain. So that worked out just beautifully. I'll give you a peek at the end of the video of the completed job. Here I am standing in front of my beautiful sunny kitchen window that I love so much. We have a fig tree on our property, and I was so excited to pull some of the figs off it and look at them. And look how gorgeous they are. Do you have a fig tree? Have you ever plucked a fig off a tree and just come in and cut it open? Look at that beautiful, beautiful pink-red color. Kind of looks like a mini watermelon, but they are so delicious. They are kind of high in sugar, so we did not eat all of these figs. But it was a treat to go out there and pick them, and they were just at the peak of their freshness. And look at that big smile on my face. I was so proud of myself. Yes, I went out and picked our figs, and there they were, so beautiful. Now, next up here, you guys have asked me many times, but Darlene, we love your simple suppers. But what about the other meals? What other kind of meals do you eat? Once a day, twice a day? What exactly do you eat? So, in a nutshell, for breakfast. Sometimes I'm fasting, and I'll just have a cup of coffee, and I'll fast till later in the morning, like maybe 11ish or so. And then maybe if I'm really hungry, Lou and I are both hungry, I will make something. And here are two examples right now of things that we like to have for breakfast. One is just a little bit of cottage cheese. Now this is the full fat cottage cheese. Nothing low fat here. That's not what I'm doing. This is low carb, good fat. And I'll put just about maybe a half a cup in, and then I get some organic strawberries and blueberries. Those are probably the lowest in carb that you can find. And I put a little bit of allulose on mine. You don't have to put anything. They taste so good, but sometimes I do that. And that's one breakfast. And it's a delicious breakfast, and it keeps us pretty full. You get the protein from the cottage cheese and, a little bit of fiber, if that's important to you, from the fruit. And the organic, I just don't even bother to buy any other kind of berry than organic. I'm a little worried about that. They spray the strawberries and the blueberries, the blackberries, the raspberries. They spray them very, very heavily, and that worries me. So while we're dieting, let's just clean up everything, right? As best we can. As best we can. You always have to end everything with that, because you can't do everything perfectly. This next, what I'm showing you here, is just a very simple eggs and ham. On this morning, I chose to do ham. But these are farm fresh eggs that I get from Farmer Will. And every time I get them, I just get so excited. I love that basket. To me, it's just as happy and pretty as a vase full of fresh picked flowers. I just love it. I love looking at them on the counter. Just make some wonderful scrambled eggs with a little bit of salt and some delicious ham. And that could be a breakfast, a lunch, or your dinner. All right, my back of the stove potpourri. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I use this all the time. I've stepped up my game a little bit here. Instead of all water and fruit and a little bit of seasonings like pumpkin spice or cinnamon, I just put in half water now. And the other half I buy a really cheap, really inexpensive apple juice. And I put the other half of apple juice in there. I still put my pumpkin spice in there, or cinnamon, or sometimes I throw cloves in, or even a little cardamom I will sprinkle in there sometimes. And that just goes on low, super low on the back of my stove, low and slow all day long, and it smells so very good. All right, and here is my simple supper for you guys tonight, and this was absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. I'm using up, we had some company this past week, and I had some things in the refrigerator that I don't normally have. So I wanted to use them. They're just all kind of naturally low carb, so it's all good. But this is a fabulous sauce that can go over any chicken breast. I started out with about a half a cup of sour cream and about a quarter cup of, or maybe 2 tablespoons of a ranch dip. This was a kind of a just naturally low carb ranch dip. It didn't have too much sugar in it. It was just, the numbers were real good. And then that other thing you saw me put in that clear container was artichoke dip. Yes, I had that, and I thought, man, that would be so good over chicken. And trust me, it was. So probably about a half a cup to maybe 3/4 of a cup of that artichoke dip that I put in there, and then a little sprinkle of some Parmesan cheese. Yes, you can grate your own if you like. And then a squirt of lemon juice. And in this case tonight, I use lime juice. Sometimes I'll use limes now because they're just so flavorful. I don't know, maybe it's the time of year or something, but they're really good. Then a good hearty pinch of salt. And then I always like to put in my little combination that I make of onion powder and garlic powder. It's just a 50-50 blend that I make. And then I sprinkled in a little bit of Italian seasonings for flavor, but mostly just for a little bit of color in there, and just give it a great big stir. And then I took a chicken breast. These chicken breasts today are so big. These are not organic chicken breasts. I find them very difficult to find. I find them very expensive, and it makes me mad. But anyway, we were wanting chicken tonight, so that's what we did. I cut that right down in half, and I made one giant piece into 2 pieces. You guys probably do this all the time, but it's a great trick to use. And then, of course, my hands were all full of chicken juice. I went and washed them and came back and put on a little bit more seasonings directly onto the chicken breasts. And I'm going to take this sauce now. All you do is just spoon it right over the top. Now, the nice thing about this particular sauce, now I'm just making this up, so I didn't know this beforehand. I assumed, and I was right, but it will stay this way. It doesn't turn liquidy as it cooks, and you just have these chicken breasts with a bunch of liquid floating around in your pan. It doesn't do that. It stays hearty. Just like this. It's going to come out exactly the same way. Now, I think that putting this cheese on top, but that's a big bonus right there because it tastes so good. But I think that kind of helps to keep that sauce in place while it's cooking in the oven. My oven is preheating to about 375, and it will bake in the oven for about 45 minutes. You'll have to check, just make sure of the doneness of it. But yeah. And then you saw that I had some extra peppers left over. I just cut them in half and put them in there. So it's kind of a one and done dinner with a protein and a little bit of vegetable. You know, I love my peppers because I love that vitamin C that it gives. And here it is. So, so beautiful. It's just golden. The cheese is melted. You can see how that sauce has stayed in place, like I told you. So, so delicious. Now, I hate to admit this to you guys, but I'm using up here the last of my sauerkraut. And no, I have none started. This is the end of it. So I have I have got to make some sauerkraut, and then I have to wait 3 weeks. So yeah, I'm going to have to buy some. And I will buy it in the refrigerator section over by the sausage and hot dogs where they sell that stuff. I don't buy it canned, or I don't buy it in a jar, because when they heat it, they ruin all the probiotics in there. So buy it cold. If you can buy cold packed, that's the way you want it. But of course, the best way is to make it yourself. I have a wonderful tutorial video on making your own sauerkraut. The probiotic health and vitamin health is incredible. Off the charts good for you. We have it, as you know, if you've followed me for a while, we have it every single night, and I know many of you make it yourself. So that video will be down below for you to enjoy. Look at that chicken. Oh, it was so good. I mean, it was so good. Talk about company worthy. This was a company worthy dish. Now, there was just a little bit of sauce on the bottom of the pan, just a tiny, tiny bit. So I just scoop it up here and just throw it right over the top, because you don't want to miss any of that, because it was just packed with flavor. That artichoke dip, oh my goodness, and the Parmesan cheese and the ranch dip and the sour cream. Look at those plates. I'm telling you, if you had company, you could serve this and they would want that recipe. It was so good. And here's the proof. Yeah, there was not a scrap left. We had an early supper on this particular night, so I did have some time, a little bit of time, to put together something that Lou and I really enjoy, and that is those delicious frozen cheesecake balls. And I made chocolate this night, and I made strawberry. Now, I did do a video on this not too long ago. I'll put it down below. I'm telling you guys, if you have not tried these and you love cheesecake, you will absolutely be so thrilled that you have these down in your freezer, because they are so good. Yeah, so I'll stick that video below for you to check out. They're so easy to make. I just stick that whole tray there in my outside freezer for overnight, so they're nice and frozen. They don't freeze really hard, you know, like a golf ball. They just freeze like maybe a cookie would freeze. You know, it's still edible. And when they're frozen, they just taste so good. I love frozen cheesecake. And then I just take them when they're nice and frozen. I take them out and I put them in these individual little containers, so they'll fit nice in my refrigerator here in my kitchen. And then whenever we want one, we just go down in the freezer and take one out. Usually it's one strawberry and one chocolate. This morning, I just got back from a trip to Farmer Will. He actually is just right down the street. He's such a sweet guy. I just love him. And he was recently married, so congratulations to Farmer Will. Anyway, what I do with my eggs just to kind of keep them in order so I know that the older eggs I have to use first, the newer eggs I use last, and so that Lou and I both know what's in this basket. I just don't toss them all in. I take out, when I get fresh eggs, I take out what's in the basket, just put them aside for a minute, and I put the new ones in on the bottom because they're the newest ones. And then I go ahead like I'm doing now. I just put the older ones, which are probably about a week, maybe 2 weeks at the max, and I stick them on top. So we make sure that we use the oldest ones first, and then the newest ones are on the bottom. Hey, I opened one the other day. Actually, I did that float test, with the water, and if it rises to the top, the egg, it's not good. And I was curious, well, what does not good mean? Is it, so I cracked it like an idiot. I cracked it, and it like exploded. It went everywhere. It was so stinky. It was. Trust me, I will never, ever do that again. All right, here is a look at our landscaping that is almost 100% done. They cut up some rock for me here and made like a little rock wall there. And look at this beautiful path with the brick and the pea gravel, and all the grass seed is down now. We did a few little plantings here of Japanese maple, and what are those? Oh, those are butterfly bushes. We got pink ones and purple ones. And then on the other side here, we went ahead and put down all that rubber mulch on this side so that it wouldn't have to get a mower up in there. We're going to plant on this side and probably paint that lattice work there, and then plant some bushes that will grow maybe halfway up that little wall there. And here's the steps going down. We finally can get down to our lower half of the property now without getting just a muddy mess, a terrible muddy mess. And the shrubs there. And we're so happy with that rubber mulch. If you guys have ever thought about using rubber mulch, here's a good look at it. And it is just beautiful. And we were so happy. And they say that is really particularly good to use around a pool area. And I sure hope that is going to be true. Because we have a boatload of it. We really do. And there's all the hay is down, the straw is down, and the grass seed. And I'm telling you, I just could not be happier to get rid of that Virginia red clay. Do you have red clay in your state? Well, we sure have it here. And it can make a terrible mess. Sometimes just really hard to get out, but I love this retaining wall, and just to look up at the pool is so beautiful. The way our pool is situated, it's way behind the house, and the way our house is situated kind of sits up on a hill. You don't even know that there's a pool back there. Nobody has any idea that there is a pool behind us. There's nothing that you can see from the road, and I really like that. These doors right here, this is our pool house, and I will show you that at another time. But this is where we're going to store all our pool furnishings and all the chemicals and the brushes and the robot vacuum, all those things. The umbrellas, the chairs, the cushions. They will all go down in that pool house, and I'll show you that at another time. But right now is just a final look at our beautiful property. I'm just so happy that it's finally done. It's just been hanging over us kind of like a dark cloud, and now it's done. And tomorrow, actually, the tarp goes on the pool. The guys are coming. They're going to close it down, and that's going to be probably one of the saddest days for this girl. And there's a little friend there on the other side of the fence trying to get at my flowers. That whole side of the pool there is going to be my cutting garden. So if you have any ideas for me for flowers that come back every year and are thick-stemmed and good for cutting gardens, let me know. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today on Super at 60's Farmhouse in the Forest. I'm pleased as punch that you are here. I always am. Please leave me a comment. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video, and make sure that you are subscribed, because I love having you guys around here. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye now, and Lord bless.